All right, final half hour OverDrive continues. Brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line of the final score. Leafs Devils tonight on TSN Radio and on TSN 4. So we're out of here for the pregame in about a half an hour. Bryan Hayes, Al's brother, a.k.a. Michael DiStefano. I get that wrong every time. And there's Carlo Colaiacovo in studio.
A.k.a. Partsy, I heard.
A.k.a. Partsy. We're on the Niners tonight. Do you like that?
I do.
You like to lay in the 3.5 on the road?
After what happened to me on the weekend with the Seahawks that I told you,
sickening.
I never, ever
That is so sickening.
Again.
Don't you just hate a team when they cost you a bet or a survivor pool? Like, you can never forgive them.
No. Never.
Ever. You'll never forget that.
At least not this year.
That's sickening.
I hope they lose every game for the rest of the season.
So do I. I'm sickened for you. Anyway, good to see you, buddy.
Thanks, man. Great to see you.
Habs panel tonight.
Back,
it's go time, man. It's go time.
Yeah.
And like Montembeault's not going back to back, but we thought Stolarz might, but it's not going to be Stolarz. I guess.
Look, there was an argument to be made about Stolarz going back to back because he's from New Jersey. This is probably a game he had circled on his calendar. Probably have a lot of people that.
Well, a week ago he thought he was going to be playing. I thought I heard that he had 50 friends.
A week
and family
ago,
with tickets.
2 days ago.
2 days
Right, 2 days ago.
Yesterday morning, he probably thought he was
I had
playing.
heard that he had 50 tickets set aside for friends and family to go to this
So
game.
greasy,
And look, like, I could understand if there was a conversation with Berube and Stolarz either after the game yesterday, on the bird, or this morning, and Stolarz was literally begging and pleading, saying, look, I know it's early in the season, I know it's back-to-back, but I really want this game. And maybe I could have understood if they went that route and gave it to him, but you cannot play your goaltender 3 games in 4 nights to start the season.
Right,
No.
exactly.
Because he's playing Saturday.
Absolutely.
Like, there's no chance anybody but Stolarz is playing Saturday.
He's the man now in
He
Toronto.
is.
Until proven otherwise. Like, Joseph Woll's got to get healthy, stay healthy, play well.
Yeah.
Stolarz has got the lead on him.
And let's be honest, with this situation with Wall, and I hate the fact that this has happened again because I am such a big fan of Joseph Wall, and I really think he can do great things for this team and in the league. But you have to have 3 goalies ready for you to play this. You have to see what you have in Hildeby.
That's right.
And this is a great game for him, too. Like, he tried to play a game last year. Sheldon Keefe wouldn't let him.
It's a great setup for him to kind of
Right?
shove it.
It
Like,
is.
Now, Keefe will really be puffing his chest out if Hildeby gets shelled tonight, and he'll say, that's why.
Did you guys see that?
I told you I wasn't going to play him.
You guys see that report that came out this morning about the team stretch that New Jersey had?
Keefe was in the middle of it.
When have we ever seen a coach lead a team stretch?
Like,
Not one
should
I've
he-
been a part of.
Should he
but,
have done that, or should he have said, hey, guys, I
Well-
appreciate the sentiment. It's my former team, but I'm not playing tonight. So
it also makes you recognize how important this game is for the Devils, too. How important they believe the game is for Keefe, and the money that's going to be on the board tonight.
I want to ask you this, actually. When it comes to, like, obviously, I think that Keefe is going to want his retribution, right? It's a team, they fired him. They said, we can't get it done with you. We don't want you. And we were replacing you with Berube. As for the players, like, how motivated will they be to play against Keefe tonight?
The Leafs, you mean?
Like the Leafs players.
I mean, I don't think the players on the Leafs team are saying, hey, guys, let's make sure we go get this one because we want to stick it to our former coach. I don't think there was any, bad taste left in anybody's mouth when he left. I just think for the Devils, look, you always look for extra reasons as a team to get up for a game. Not like the Devils need one. It's their home opener. But this gives it a little bit of extra incentive. And when you see the amount of money that gets put on the board before the game, like that's all fun stuff, right? Rarely do you see coaches put stuff on, and when you do, you want to go get it.
Sure.
So I think the players on New Jersey for sure are going to want to win one for him. And they've looked
And it's
good.
their home opener.
And they've looked good through 2 games, even though they were in Europe.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like, the team that needs to get it is extreme this early into the season.
Right.
But the Devils have got 4 points banked.
Yeah.
The Leafs, you lose tonight, that's how you start your year 0-2. That's just bad vibes coming home.
Like, if anything,
you want to get off to this tonight.
100%, if anything, for the Leaf players, they're probably saying, let's go get one for our coach.
Yes, exactly. Craig Berube wants his first win.
Didn't score a goal for him in his first game.
That's right. Shut out for the first time in 252 games.
Brutal.
Including playoffs, which is phenomenal.
Starting to jump on the Montembeault train.
You know what? I thought of you last night. I thought of you last night because I I personally jammed Carlo on July 1st. So
What happened?
we were co-captains for the Team Canada reveal, who we think will be on Canada. Was it for the Four Nations Cup or was it for the Olympics?
Yeah.
Four Nations. And we were going through our roster, and we got to the goaltenders, and he was adamant Montembeault should be one of the three. And I used a veto card on it. I'm like, I don't think so, man.
This guy covers the Habs. He does the broadcast.
Exactly. And he said, I'm telling you, man, this guy looked really solid down the stretch. He's a good goalie.
Yeah. Analytically, he was awesome, too.
I didn't buy into it. I didn't see it.
And now, like, I'm not overreacting
right.
over one game. Clearly, it was.
But he looked good last night.
And
listen, that goaltending position for Canada is open. Who wants it? Go get it.
I mean, Skinner didn't do himself any favors.
No,
yesterday.
Certainly didn't.
No,
Tristan Jarry didn't last night.
So, I mean,
Right?
look, there's still a long season, but do I think the Habs are going to make the playoffs this year? No, I don't. But there's a lot of positive growth with that team. And I think Montembeault, over the last 2 years especially, just having to come up and solidify that number one position, I think he's going to take a big step this year.
Well, that's the one guy that could get them in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, if he plays like that.
Yes. I mean, he's not going to make 48 saves every night or whatever. No. But if he's a top 5 statistical goalie this year, they will win a lot of games. Mm-hmm. Like, if you have a goalie that is a stud, now, can they score? They scored once last night.
I still think that's
their
where
issue.
They're
their
struggle
offense is a real problem.
And that Liney injury just adds insult to injury.
It was crushing for them. Yeah. And that fan base was so looking forward to having him there. And
the ovation he got last night, too.
It speaks to how great that hockey market is. Like, the fact that they were treating Liney as if, like, Mario Lemieux got traded there in his prime.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Look, you guys know that I'm a big card guy. You wouldn't believe how much money Patrick Liney's card market was worth the day he got traded and the ensuing weeks. These people thought that
like
this
the
guy
stock
was
market. I love it.
It is insane, but like it like tripled, quadrupled. Yeah. It was insane. People in Montreal thought they still believe that Laine, when he comes back and he's healthy, like he's a 40-goal scorer. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be a 40-goal scorer for them moving forward. Obviously, with missing time, he's not going to do that this year, but they still think he's going to be a big part of that offense. And he can be. He's got to be if they want any chance in the world.
That's what they need.
Yes.
They need secondary scoring outside of that big top line.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. And I don't see where that's going to be. You know, Doc, he's got to stay healthy. He's Joseph Wall. You know, he's got to prove he can stay healthy and be a player. And, you know, I will say that Lane Hutson kid was dancing a lot last night.
Man,
he is fun to watch play.
He's twitchy.
That's one thing that really excites me about this year. You know, I obsess about defensemen. I was trying to prepare people for Quinn Hughes when he came into the league, and you see what he's turned into. This Lane Hutson character, he's going to be electric every night.
And they will love that style of play at the Bell Center.
And I'm excited to see how they utilize him, because Matheson evolved last year.
He looked good last night.
In their top defenseman, but I don't see it. Like, when the 5-on-3 last night, I was sitting there saying, why is Lane Hutson not quarterbacking this 5-on-3?
Yeah. I mean, they're probably trying to lay off a little bit. Like, you know, it's kind of like when Matthews and Marner and they showed up, and Babcock was like, we're not doing this. Like, I don't think they weren't on the first line. Remember, Matthews started on like the third line and was like PP2, and it's like a rite of passage where you've got to earn it and you can't pass the other guy.
Marner and Matt Martin were together for a little bit.
Yes. Like, you got to ease into your career. We're not going to hand you the keys. And I actually think there's some validity to that. I think it's pretty smart. And I think you also have to control the mob a little bit in Montreal, because they're so on top of this. Like, there's so much Lane Hutson love already.
So, you know what really bothers me is, since the Leafs drafted Morgan Rielly, wouldn't it be amazing to be talking about a kid like that on the blue line for the Maple Leafs?
Yeah,
they haven't drafted and developed anyone. Timothy Liljegren, who didn't even play last night.
And I'm not sure he will. This is a back-to-back, and he's not in.
Yeah. If you're not playing in one of the first back-to-backs, you're in trouble.
What they think he is.
You're in big trouble,
right?
They signed him to a contract, a 2-year deal.
I don't understand it, man.
And he hasn't played a single game from it. I don't get that.
I never understood the deal when they agreed to it. This was a guy that was basically you had a reason to move on from him. Tree Living coming in, finally getting his stamp on the team. I never understood that deal, but last night was tough to watch that Maple Leafs power play.
Yeah.
And again, we talk about how much different it could look if they had a guy like Lane Hutson on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
We all love Morgan Rielly as a player, as a person. I think his time running the Toronto Maple Leafs power play is
and they have Ekman-Larsson there.
But dude, man, they don't have a shot threat back there. That's
not have
what
a slap
has
shot.
to be different about this Maple Leafs power play. You don't think the book is out on the same 4 guys that are out there every night on the PP? Okay, guys, take away the middle of the ice, let them play on the perimeter. If no one's going to shoot it, that's what frustrated the heck out of me. And I actually liked what I saw at a PP2 yesterday, led by Ekman-Larsson. You had Nyes, you had Robertson. These guys were moving it, creating chances towards the net. And I don't know how much we're going to actually see a split PP unit because the ice time was split up
was
pretty
very
evenly
close.
yesterday.
They're going to do that, though. You got to spread the wealth on talent.
I was just going to say that. If that's the logic that you want, split up the guys on PP1.
Yeah.
Let guys like Tavares or Nylander or Marner run their own PP. Because clearly them 4 together, it's too easy, man.
Well, it was last night. Like 0 for 5, I think they were on the power play last
4.
night. 0 for 4. Montreal was 1 for 5.
1 for 5,
I think.
yeah.
And, Ekman-Larsson's there. Like, he did it literally for the Cup champs last year. Like, he was PP1.
His, breakaway move yesterday?
Okay, so as a defenseman, coming out of the box, like, that is as clear-cut of a breakaway as you're ever going to get in your life.
Yeah.
And that was the worst breakaway attempt of all time.
It's almost like he thinks somebody's catching him, but he drifts into the corner and he takes a shot
right at him
from the top of the circle.
It's just horrendous. I mean, there's no other way to describe that. Like, he obviously panicked. It is a kind of a nightmare scenario, though. Like, you've probably been in that situation. If you don't practice it a lot, and you're not offensively inclined in that, like, he's got a big shot, but he's not a guy that's leading a rush or anything.
He's not a guy that's used to taking breakaways
ever. Yeah. And if you're coming out of the box, you're almost like, if this gets to me, I'm wide open. What the hell am I going to do?
Yeah.
He malfunctioned.
Taking it wide.
He completely malfunctioned.
Not the idea.
It's like the Xbox controller.
That's what happened.
Stalled.
It stalled. Someone pulled the console out, and this guy just started, for whatever reason, moving towards the corner and flipped the shot into the middle of the net.
I said last night it's the early candidate for worst breakaway move of the year.
Dude, who's beating that?
I don't know if that's a
Give
joke.
him the trophy. Literally, Mark Masters tonight before the game should hand him the trophy. You officially have the worst breakaway move.
But aside from that, I thought he was awesome.
I thought he played well. I thought Tanev was great last night. And like Tanev, I think what Leaf fans noticed last night, if they haven't been watching him, and he spent his whole career in the West, he's got the reputation of being a shot blocker and being physical, and he's got all that. But he made some passes, especially in the first period last night, that were so smooth and so transitional.
Yeah.
Like in under pressure and just boom, hits his partner. Under pressure, finds a guy breaking through the middle of the ice. That's way more valuable than a shot block. Like, they're both valuable, but the ability to move the play forward is imperative by defensemen, and he can do that.
You know what they call those guys? Calming influences. Because that's what they do. They just calm things when they're back there because they show no panic in their play.
Well,
and they make the play that's in front of them instead of trying to make the play that looks better.
And we keep talking about how he's supposed to compliment Rielly, right? Like, if he's able to do that, that allows Rielly to be able to jump up a little more, right? And get him involved a little more. Now you got an odd man rush going the other way.
Yeah.
So it does add to the wave of pressure that they can have moving forward in the transitional game.
That's the hope. I mean, look, this whole idea of rebuilding the blue line is building around Morgan Rielly. Like, really, every year we keep saying they need a partner for Rielly. They need a partner for Rielly. Well, they had one with Luke Schenn. They let him go.
Mm-hmm.
Now they get one with Tanev, and you're still trying to build around Morgan Rielly. He's the guy that's leading the power play. He's the guy that's going to be the big minute guy every night. I hope we get to a point one time in a year where we talk about somebody else ahead of Morgan Rielly on there.
Well, that would be progression if someone passed him on the depth chart. Or, what needs to happen is the focus needs to be on Morgan. Like, you got a guy now, you better have a career year.
Yeah.
Like, you've been in the league a long time. Like, you're making the most money on that back end. You're a part of the core 5. The other guys get all the attention, but you've been here longer than anybody else.
Yep.
And if Tanev's playing with you every night, You better have the best year of your career.
Anymore.
Yes. Like, go out there and perform and get up in the play. Like, that's when he's at his best, when he's skating, he's darting into the play. He can lead a rush at times. He's a guy that kind of he can create a cycle by himself.
Rover.
Yes.
Be that rover guy.
That's what he's got to do. And he's got to he's got to be moving. He's got to be impactful. He's got to put up numbers, too. Like, he had a year a couple years ago where he had 70 points.
Yeah.
Like, that should be expected out of him. You have to bring that for this team to have success. But Montembeault was the story, I think, for Montreal last night, clearly in the game. And, we turned the page. And
he was a story for the Habs.
He was a story for the Habs.
But the story for the Leafs was Stolarz.
Yes.
Because
he was really good.
I said this morning. What would the conversation be in Toronto today if Stolarz didn't have that performance?
People
based on everything
panicking.
that happened with Joseph Wall?
Right. They'd be panicking. No goaltender. At least, I think it calmed things down.
Yes.
I don't know if there necessarily would have been panic, but it definitely allowed a much more calming Monday. Like, I'm sure there was a lot less panic when it came to wake up Woodbridge in the morning because of that.
Well,
if they give up
some people,
no goals, I'm sure.
Man.
But like if they lose 7-0 last night,
that
would have been a different story.
And that's what I mean. Like when I've been asked about this goaltending, I've always said I think this is the best goaltending tandem the Maple Leafs have had in a long time. I know we're talking about two guys that have been unproven, but Joseph Wall, when he's played, he's been one of the best. And Anthony Stolarz, I was with the kid when he was a rookie in Philly, and this guy he's
a monster.
And
he looks massive.
Hayes, I never played the position. I'm not a goaltending coach, but my idea of a goaltender always starts with size and athleticism. Stolarz checks the box on both of those because think about it. Think of Montreal yesterday. I think I was talking to Cheryl before I came in, and she said the high danger scoring chances yesterday were 22-17 for the Leafs. Did it look like the Habs had 17 high danger scoring chances?
No.
They did. They had a couple of really good ones in the first period.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a player playing against the guy that big in net, there's already a mental challenge saying, I don't see any net.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And Joseph Wall's not a small guy either. He's like 6'3".
And Hildeby's 6'7".
6'7". He's bigger than Stolarz. And
I'm
listen,
excited to see him tonight.
I am too.
I am too.
I'm a proponent of the depth they have. I think the jury's still out on whether or not they have a number one guy.
Yeah.
Like that's where I would stop you in terms of like feeling so great about where they're at. Like Freddie Anderson had his issues, he had his warts, and by the end you couldn't rely on him because he was injured. But his first 3 years here, like he was a number one, and he was going to start 50-plus games, which he did, and you knew what you were going to get out of him. There was a time, I wouldn't say Jack Campbell necessarily supplied that, but he did have a run, like the first half of the season.
What about Samsonov's first year here?
Samsonov's first year.
Guy couldn't lose at home.
Couldn't lose at home. And, he was in competition with Matt Murray, but Murray wasn't reliable. So maybe Stolarz does that, but it is similar to that in the past. Mm-hmm. Like I hear what you're saying in terms of their abilities. And Joseph Wall, I'm not debating his talents, but I don't know how much he's going to play. And if you're not available, then that's going to hurt the evaluation of the tandem or the goaltending position within the organization. So, and it's going to be hanging over them until proven otherwise. Until Wall gets healthy, plays, wins games, and they move on.
Of the 3 games that we've seen from Stolarz so far, and no 2 of them have been preseason, there's a lot to like there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And last night he looked great. He did, and we'll see what Hildeby's got tonight. And as for the Leafs, they threw a lot on net last night. They're going to score tonight. They're not going to get shut out 2 nights in a row.
Wouldn't that be the most Leafy thing?
It'd be such a wild start.
Man.
Like shut out twice, Wall hurt. But I think they respond tonight. I think they probably win tonight.
This is such a perfect setup for the Leafs to go out and get a win. These are spots last year and years prior where we'd always second guess them, and they come out and surprise the heck out of us.
Yeah.
And I think, look, they have to feel good about themselves about yesterday's game, regardless of the result. They lost 1-0. They got goalied, but they did a lot of things well. And you still want to win one for your coach. You still want to win one for your season. It's still a game they have to play. It's not like no one's showing up to play it because they're starting their 3rd string goaltender, and that might actually help them raise their game a little more.
Yeah. Like, I'm looking at the big boys tonight, though. It always comes down to that in pro sports. After a loss, regardless of the context of the loss, and again, they didn't play poorly last night. I thought they played pretty well. But Matthews, I'll bet you, left that rink pissed last night. He had a prime opportunity to tie that game with 8 seconds to go. Yeah. You can't ask for anything better than that. In the sport, Matthews, like 6 feet from the crease with a puck on his stick, and he missed it. I think he gets rocking tonight. I'm looking at Mitch Marner tonight. John Tavares, to me, I was having this conversation this morning. Like, he doesn't look quick, he doesn't look fast, but he never has. Mm-hmm. Like, if the pucks aren't going in for him, you're going to look at him and say, the speed, the foot speed, where are you at? But I'm looking at the big guys tonight, coming off a game like that, and particularly what you said, going up against Keefe, but also trying to get one for Berube. Like, you can't be relying on Nick Robertson to push you to the top, or Bobby McMahon getting in the lineup. And
it's always a bonus when those guys chip in.
But the big boys got to drive the plate tonight.
They absolutely
and I think
do.
They're going to have a big
They
game.
absolutely do, and so does the power play. Like, that's where those guys...
They can feast.
Yeah. They can feast, and again, like, we talk about this, but this power play struggled the last month of the season last year.
Yes.
And the playoffs.
And you think about, would we be talking about a different result with that team if their power play was 15% better? And that's a low number, okay? But last night was another great example. You play a great game, you get great goaltending, it's a low-scoring game, your power play has a chance to be a difference maker in that game, and it end up being.
You go 1 for 4, that game's going to overtime, and it's anyone's
right?
night.
And at least you get a point, you leave, and you're...
Yeah, the power, I think the tonight, it I don't know, depending on how many they get, but they have to find a way to make it be a difference for them in a positive way, not in a negative way.
All right, buddy. Well, the Habs are in Boston tonight.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one considering how bad Boston played a couple of nights ago. And then Ottawa's home opener, season opener, has Florida in.
That's a tough draw for them.
That's a tough draw too, man.
But it could be a good thing too. You get a tough opponent. You got to bring your best. You're playing, new coach bump for them with Travis Green. But I think tonight, me doing the Montreal game too, the Swayman factor. Like Swayman's first game
playing tonight.
He's playing. Does the crowd get extra juiced up because he's in the net? And how does he look? The guy hasn't played all preseason.
That's right.
Right?
That's going to be a big one. With Ullmark going tonight, too. Like, if Ullmark stands on his head in Ottawa and Swayman gets shelled in Boston.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Boston would be worried about that. You think they would be?
I know I would be. I'm not saying worried.
It's one game, but...
I'm not saying worried. I'm just saying Ullmark's not here anymore. Like, they're a better team with Ullmark. They chose to move off him and keep Swayman and pay him. I think that's the right decision.
Yeah.
Like, it's, that's the play. Swayman's the younger goalie, the better goalie.
And Boston put up a stinker in game 1.
But they looked awful game 1. And Detroit's got their season opener tonight.
Buddy.
The Tigers are down 1-0 after the first inning or halfway through the first.
Detroit's playing Pittsburgh. I don't know if you watched that Pittsburgh game last night.
Awful.
Did you see who Sidney Crosby's playing with?
Beauvillier and O'Connor?
Ivan.
Like,
get Ivan up there. Get him out of Colorado. Get
Ivan. Best name in hockey.
Ivan.
I was watching that game and I'm like, what did Sidney Crosby sign up for?
Anthony Beauvillier. Sidney Crosby's line mate.
Crazy. 3 more years of that. I told Sid, get out.
Get back on the train, buddy.
Get out, man. All right, buddy. Good seeing you. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Good luck with your bet tonight.
We're on the Niners. Hazen, bro. We're feeling
looking great, buddy.
Thanks,
all right, Al's brother. Good seeing you, pal. Thanks for doing this. We'll catch you in the group chat tonight. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and up on YouTube. We appreciate that. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
Bang Bang Nana Gang, 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.